Hi, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. Well, here's my tip of the week for you, and it's all about pressing. A lot of times we're in a hurry and you think, oh, I'm not going to press it. I'm just going to go with it and take off and either wear the clothing without pressing it or whatever it is you're making. And it never looks very finished. Or sometimes you're trying to do a blind hem and it's just not working out for you, even though you're following the instructions. More than likely, you're skipping the pressing process. So I'm going to go over pressing a seam and how to press your fabric to do a blind hem. If you're making clothing, you still need to press your seams. It's very important. I'm going to show you a couple of examples. For instance, this fabric right here, it's two pieces of fabric, and I've used a serger to serge the edge. So you have a nice, clean edge here, but you still need to press it. So usually when your edges, your two pieces of fabric are serged together, what you want to do is open to the front side, and you can either finger press just a little bit, and then take your iron, press going against that seam to force your fabric on top to go towards your seam that's just stitched. So that's one way of doing your clothing seam. Let's say you've got some clothing you're making and you serge the edges of your fabric separately. So here's my 5/8 inch stitch line, which is very typical for making clothing. So you're going to open it up and like this, and take your seam, kind of just finger press just lightly. So it's like this, and then take it and press the seam open. Now, these two pressing methods that I just did are all also similar to what you would do maybe when you're sewing other craft projects or you're making quilts. For instance, on this one where the edges were serged together, this is about 1/4 inch seam. And in quilting, we typically do 1/4 inch seam. Most often in most quilting projects, your seam is pressed in one direction, like I did here. You've got raw edges here though. You can make a quilt serging your edges, but if you don't serge them, then you still want to press them all in one direction. If you're doing a blind hem, you really need to prepare your fabric first by pressing it correctly. Now, your hem width depends on what you're making. So this is just an example. So what I did for mine is, this would be my back side or not so pretty side of my fabric. I'm going to fold this edge over anywhere from 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. It all depends on what you're making. And then let's say I want a 1/2 inch wide seam. So here I've got it right there, and I pressed it again. So now, I've just finished folding it over and pressing it 1 inch. Now I'm going to turn it over to the other side, and which would be your front side of your fabric. And now I'm going to fold this edge back to where it is away from this other edge here. I hope this makes sense. And press it again. So I've got about 1/8 inch of fabric extending out here. So you're still looking at the back of your fabric. So when you take your blind hem foot, as it's stitching, what happens is your blind hem foot allows you to straight stitch on this little edge here, and then it goes over and catches this edge, comes back, straight stitch, the needle comes over, catches it, comes back. So you've got this little piece right here that's sticking up on the back side. I hope you can see it. So then you're going to take this piece and stick it right along this folded edge here, so that when you're stitching, get it there, you keep that piece right up against this inside folded edge, and then you stitch. This way, your fabric won't slide all over the place. If you don't press it, you're not going to come out so great. Well, if you're having a problem with a sewing project you're working on, you feel like you're following instructions, but it's just not coming out right, make sure that you've done your pressing. Also, if other things just aren't working out for you, leave a comment below saying you need some help with something, because maybe it just might show up in one of my tips of the week. So if you're interested in other tips of the week, I have a lot of them. Look below your YouTube screen for those video links. And also, I do have a previous tutorial that I've done on how to do hemming stitches. So I'll have that link listed below also for you. Now make sure you follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click on the thumbs up button. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, click on that red subscribe button down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Click on the bell so you can receive notifications about my latest videos. I'm Cheryl, and this is Scotty, and this is Manny. See you next time, and happy sewing!